Hello Internet, it's AndrewMycol, and welcome to today's Power Rangers Beast Moprhers review. And in today's review, we're going to be checking out Power Rangers Beast Moprhers Episode 3, The Review. So, if you want to see more of these Beast Morpher reviews, make sure you leave a like, and also comment down below if you are new. And if you are new, make sure you leave a like and subscribe so that way you don't miss anything. Without further ado, let's get into today's review. In episode 3, we are seeing the very first cutscene where Nate is fixing Zoey's blade. And if you've never seen Power Rangers Beast Morphers, Zoey is the Yellow Ranger, Nate is the Science guy. So Nate is fixing up Zoey's new blade and making it to where it can shift and everything. And then Nate shows Zoey her new bicycle called the X-Bike. And the X-Bikes are economical bikes that run on Morph-X. And speaking of Morph-X, we will get to that. Then, as Zoey runs off, she then sees the mayor trying to build a road in a forest. And then Zoey goes up and picks up a couple of critters. And he shows it to the mayor. And the mayor says, "You have 1 week to show everyone that the bikes can work. If the bikes work, then he will stop the project. But if the X-Bikes do not sell and people don't want them, he is going to then build the road." And so that is Zoey's mission for this episode. And so the 3 Rangers then try to ride their bikes around after this, and they are confronted by Blaze and the Monster of the Week. I forgot to write the name of the monster, but I'll get to it in a little bit. And so we get to our first break of the episode, and it went for about 9 minutes, and 9 minutes of the content where we really just got to, Zoey in the introduction, and we saw the X-Bike, which really played a big role in this, in this episode, honestly. And it really did show that this episode did seem like it focused more on Zoey, the Yellow Ranger. And really, that's nothing too bad, because honestly, I feel like Zoey is one of those characters where we really don't see much from her because all she was a janitor. And so I do like this episode being more centered towards her because we really don't see much from that. So we get back from our second break, and the Yellow Ranger defeats the Monster of the Week for now. All the Rangers go and fight off the goons, and then the Yellow Ranger is the one to defeat the Monster of the Week for now. And then the Rangers go and save some animals with Jax, and so they're back in the forest getting some more critters, and Jax is with them, trying to help them round them all up. And then Nate is going around, picking stuff up, and then Nate just sits by himself and says he wishes he had a family. And he said now with Devin and Ravi and Zoey with the Rangers, he said now with this he feels like he has a family and he now has friends through all this because his family really wasn't at home. So Nate goes there and he says that they're all his friends. So Blaze then sees them and tries confronting them, but then he fails trying to morph up because he doesn't have enough Morph-X. And so the Rangers then chase him off on the bikes. And of course we got this from the preview clip. Blaze tries to morph up, fails, gets on one of the X-Bikes and runs and bicycles away, while the 3 Rangers are morphed up and chases after him for about 4 minutes. And in the 4 minutes, we get to see this reporter and the camera in the helicopters checking on traffic. Then they point the camera at the Rangers and Blaze riding on their bicycles, and a lot of people are watching. They even drive into traffic, so a lot more people are wondering what the heck's going on. And then Blaze leads them to Roxy. So this is the first time we get to see Roxy in a fight outside of episode 1, because episode 2 we didn't see Roxy actually fighting outside of the dimension. So we get to see a little bit of focus from Roxy and a little bit more of the evil boss kind of thing. I mean, obviously she's not the evil boss, Evox is, but it does seem like she has more of a leader-ish role, trying to be more evil than now. And then basically Roxy then ambushes them, and we get our first fight with Roxy. And so that leads us to the second break. So we get about 10 minutes of them riding their bicycles, trying to chase after Blaze. They then run into a shed, and then they are confronted by Roxy, who is making a kind of Morph-X kind of factory going on. Because it's not really anything but the goons trying to round up all the Morph-X in the factory, and them trying to get as much Morph-X as they can. And so the name of the Monster of the Week is Needledrum. And so Needledrum is huge-ified, like I said, with enough Morph-X that they got from that barn. And Ravi deploys and fights the monster with his Zord. So Ravi deploys while Devin and Zoey then stay and try to fight everyone. And then they take him down. And then Zoey says, "No, I'll go fight off Roxy." And Blaze splits, and then Devin goes and gets his Zord and then fights off the Monster of the Week, Needledrum, and kills him. And then at the end, Zoey tries to fight Roxy, but she stole the Morphex and split, and so Roxy then leaves and leaves Zoey to do her thing. And then, like I said, Devin comes in and destroys the monster for the week. And then we get to our last spot, and then they said, man, I wish, you know, these bikes would have sold. And then the mayor tells them that the reporter basically was a live feed, and then a lot of people saw it, and a lot of people were buying the X bikes. And so he said the forest is not being cut down, and the Blaze and the X bikes, I'm sorry, were now saved, and they saved the day, and the forest is now good. And we find out that the reporter and the reporter is Zoey's mom. And so we see that Zoey kind of plays a big role in the city. Well, not really. I mean, she is the reporter, and she does get all the stuff out for the Rangers. And then Zoey is seen to be the reporter, but I don't think the reporter knows that Zoey's the Ranger. Just like the mayor doesn't know Devin is the Ranger. And so that's a very interesting take, because it's like trying to conceal their identities, because obviously if the mayor finds out Devin is the Red Ranger, obviously he's not going to like that. And then the comedic duo make the unicycles. They have the X bikes, and then they split it in half, literally, and they have these two little bikes. And then at the end of the episode, they crash into each other. So that's basically the end of episode 3, and that is the end. And it ends at 30 minutes, just like normal. Now, because I wasn't here Saturday, me and my friend Red Rebel, also known as Christian, and he watched it with me, and I explained to him a little bit about how everything works. And he said this wasn't as cringy as it used to be, which honestly I can see, because for the past 8 years with Neo Saban, it did seem like this was a little cringy. But to him, he said this was not a bad episode. Like he said, even though he's not a Power Rangers fan at all, he said the Yellow Ranger was a bit cringy, but it was because that was her character and she had to be. And she said everything else was fine. I mean, with all the love stories and all that, he seemed like he was pretty interesting. He said it's a pretty good episode from him. Now, from me, I will say, if I could rank the first 3 episodes in order from greatest to worst, I feel like the greatest episode was still episode 1, but I feel like episode 3 was a bit stronger than episode 2 was, because with episode 3, we do see some more character-ish. We get to see more out of the Yellow Ranger, Zoey, and it does seem like we got a lot more focus into what she wants to do to try to literally save the world from corruption or whatever's going on. And we do get to see a little bit of the love story between Ravi and Roxy, but just a tiny bit. And the feel that we get to see Joey's mom being the reporter is pretty nice. So what would I give the rank of this? Like I said last week, I didn't know whether to give the episode from last week a 3 or a 4, so I gave it a 3.5. This episode, I do feel like I can give it a 4, but definitely not a 5, because the first episode is definitely like a 4.5 out of 5. So this week, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 thumbs up. Honestly, I feel like that's fair, because this is like in between the first and second episode. And I do feel like this one was a bit better than last week, but definitely still not as good as the first episode. But I think this was much more solid than last week, and I do feel like this was pretty awesome. I mean, it's good to see the Rangers trying to save the world. Well, technically just the part of the forest and the morphing grid, so that was good. So, what do you guys think about today's episode? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I hope you guys like these reviews. I've been checking on the views and everything, and they seem to be going pretty well. Now, we don't get a lot of comments because some of the people that watch my videos aren't Power Rangers fans, which I totally understand. So, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you leave a like, and until next time, I'm AndrewMycol, and I'll see you guys next time. Go, Power Rangers.